him on the drums tonight.
Yeah, so basically my journey at Planetshakers was a 19-year-old kid, started playing drums. I was studying at uni at the time, media production. And about 2 years after I started drumming, they needed a video editor to do some promo videos and stuff like that. So I started working 1 day a week for Planetshakers back in 2001. And then as it got busier, it built up and built up. So I was kind of like 3 days a week. And then Pastor Russell felt to move to Melbourne and for us to start a church, which is Planetshakers City Church. So in 2004, moved from Adelaide to Melbourne. And so then I went full-time doing video editing. I guess I was the music director as well at the start. And I mean, we were everything, you know, you just did what you had to do. So I was doing the rostering, I was editing the videos, I was pastoring the team, you know, it's just kind of whatever we had to do, we did.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years into the church, I did a season in the pastoral care. So I was one of our regional pastors. So the way that we care for the adult church is geographically, because we're a citywide church. So I did about a year and a half or 2 years as one of the regional pastors.
Okay.
And then the way that things were growing and developing with the creative team, we were doing more albums, there were more projects on the go, and a lot of the guys were not sleeping much and working through the night, and you know, as you do, just things get out of hand. So Pastor Russell and Sam felt the need to have someone who oversaw the whole creative. And because I'd been in video, I'd been in music, I'd toured, been part of albums, and had the pastoral experience as well.
Wow.
And I'm quite an organised person.
Yeah.
They kind of felt, well, you're the right person for that position. So we restructured everything and put it under one person, which was me. So we have 4 areas under creative, which is music, video, media, and production. So we have a manager of each of those areas who I oversee, and then there are some other staff under those guys. So, but I mean, a lot of the faces that you see in the band are all other players in the church. So Joff is our music manager.
Yeah.
He produces the albums and, you know, and kind of does our rostering and stuff like that. Andy, one of the other drummers, is our high school's pastor.
Wow.
Rudy, who you'll see a lot, is our university's pastor. Matt Garner, who does some leading, is one of our regional pastors as well. So Pilsy, who plays guitar sometimes, is our media manager. So he's our main graphic designer, does our website and that. So everyone's multitasking, you know.
I was in Bible school just outside of Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how, but we got this burned CD. Yeah. And my guy, one of my friends said, "This is from my uncle." He goes, "I have no idea what it is." So we popped it in our dorm room, and I don't even know. It wasn't an actual album. It was just a bunch of mixed songs, and but one of the songs was "Enemy's Camp." And I think they're like, "Play on the drums, Mike," and you do your thing. And I was like, that was the first spark for the band Planetshakers. I'm like, oh, there's something more here.
Yeah.
And ever since then, to be honest, I've pretty much listened to every album.
Yeah. Well, that was my first. Well, that was the first album we did.
Wow.
And that was my first Planetshakers conference. So that was from the year 2000.
Wow. So
I was a 19-year-old kid. I'd never played on an album before. I'd definitely never played on a live album before. It was my first. Well, actually, I played with Henry once before, over in Perth at a Youth Alive.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I played with Sam Evans leading, and I was just this kid, just holding on for dear life. To be honest with you. Just looking around and going, all right, what's next?
Wow.
And then, yeah, we got to that sort of moment on one of the nights when the Holy Spirit's just moving and Russell's up on stage running around, and then they go into this Enemy's Camp song, which I'd never heard before. You know,
oh, wow.
I didn't grow up a Pentecostal kid. I grew up in like a more traditional church. And so all these, you know, gospel influenced Pentecostal songs. I had no idea. So I'm literally looking at the bass player, and he's giving me the tempo, telling me what pattern to play with his fingers and stuff.
Wow.
And we just kind of launched into it. And, then Russell goes, come on, Mike, give some devil some pain on that drum. I just launched into it. I threw every chop that I knew at the time at it and came out in time, so that was good. I mean, that's a tough question because I draw inspiration from everyone I see.
Yeah.
So from the 6-year-old kid trying to play in time but giving his all to, like we said in the email, Big Mike Clemens, who...
Yeah.
Who else though? Kevin Camp, who's another guy in the New Breed. So he sometimes plays bass, he sometimes plays keys.
Yeah.
He was drumming on this Asia tour that we've just come off.
Yeah.
Big Mike to go home. Kevin is a monster, bro.
Wow. He
just lays it down and then just has chops to burn, and he's just a great guy as well.
What was that last name? Camp?
Camp. C-A-M-P.
Okay.
Camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, that they inspire me from what they do is phenomenal, and they're doing it on a world scale. But in terms of being able to contextualise that with what we do as Planetshakers, if I came out and played like that, it just wouldn't be right. It wouldn't suit what we're doing. So in terms of guys who've inspired me, playing the style that we do, probably the first guy that sparked something in me was Luke Munns from Hillsong.
Yeah.
He was the original United drummer.
Wow.
And he was really the first guy that I saw giving everything in his playing. So he was swinging bigger than anyone. He was hitting harder. He was singing louder. He was more passionate than anyone else that I'd ever seen on the drums. And then through getting to meet him, in the early days, probably 8 or 9 years ago, we just kind of struck this chord where, I'm like, bro, you were such an inspiration to me. And then, I was able to inspire him with some of my style as well. And so that connection early on was probably a big influence. Once we started getting to like 2003, 2004, when we were playing big and songs like that, that's when I really started playing hard as well and playing loud and giving everything. Back in the early days, I was a little bit more reserved, but then something just clicked, and it's like I can't hold anything back. I just got to give it all.
Is that when you also added that snare, your piccolo?
Yeah, that was like 2003 that I brought that in. That was specifically for a song called My King that Henry wrote.
Yeah.
And the whole opening was that on a beat, and so it just needed that second snare drum, and so I had used one a few years before that, but I hadn't really featured it with anything. Then we kind of went through a season of a few songs featuring that. And then now we've kind of gone back the other way where I have a second snare drum on the left, but it's tuned really low now. So it gives you kind of that really floppy, open sound for a different thing. And, the drums have got bigger over the years. Like the kick drum is 24 now.
Wow.
It's just like 12, 16, 18-inch toms. I don't have any cymbals under 20 inches.
Wow.
They're all just big. Sorry, but back to the question. People have influenced me. Many guys from a distance, like Jesus Culture, Josh, I forget his last name.
Josh Fisher.
But, he is just solid and on it. And in terms of executing the part the way it's written, like there's not many like him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just on it every single time. Andre from Deluge Band.
Yes.
Times and hang out with them. Like he's a great mix of being articulate and technical, but also having great dynamic in his playing.
Yeah.
See a lot of guys who've got the technical stuff and are articulate, but then don't have that ability to be dynamic. But Dre is very good at that. I struggle to call him Dre because I'm white, but I just call him Andre. Then all the ones you see on TV, like the Lakewood Band and all those guys.
Yeah.
They're they're just an inspiration as people who are doing what we do at such a high level. Any of the guys at Hillsong, from Rolf a few years ago, he really pushed the boundaries of technicalities.
Yeah.
He was really one of the ones who brought that power drumming, but with chop in it.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I don't know how to not sound racist, but the white worship context.
Hey, anything goes. We're drummers.
Yeah. And then, any number of people who are just giving their all. Like there's local guys in Australia. There's a guy in Brisbane called Darren Muller, who's been around for years. He's in Brisbane Youth Alive. He's played with everyone. He's a great player. A guy in Adelaide called Kelvin Sugars, who again has been playing. He was actually the second drum kit. There's this duo thing on YouTube.
Yeah. I remember
2003 or something, 2004. He's the other guy wearing the cap that's playing.